Let me start the recording. All right, the recording's going. Switch screens. Okay, we're green across the board. So, welcome back, guys. This is our 30th session of Ophion. I don't really have any. Oh, no, I do have the one announcement that's not really Star Trek related. If any of you are interested in 40K RPGs, tomorrow, Sunday, the 17th of June, at 7 p.m., I will be hosting a Wrath and Glory one shot that basically goes through the Free RPG Day module that was released, well, today. Today is Free RPG Day. So, if you are interested at all, love it if you could come hang out, check out the recording, etc., etc. And if everything goes well, I will probably make that a full-time show. I don't know if I'll keep the time slot, but just watch for details on either my Twitch or on my Twitter. Other than that, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and dive into the opening log. And this week, the log is done by Mr. Beckett. So, Beckett, if you would go ahead, please.
Alrighty. Chief Medical Officer's Log, Stardate 5601.1. The Ophion is currently en route to Deep Space Daedalus after finally finishing repairs at Starbase 214. Our ETA is just over 5 hours, which has given me just enough time to say some goodbyes and finish packing. My understanding is that the Lysithea is already at DSD, and all of the pomp and circumstance of the promotions and change of command ceremony will take place shortly after I arrive. The prospect of my own command is both gratifying and terrifying. Out of my own curiosity, I decided to look up how many chief medical officers who have been promoted to command of a non-medical ship, and the number can only be counted on one hand. It gives me even more pride that I have been given this opportunity. My last act as Chief Medical Officer of the Ophion will be to record a couple of messages of encouragement to Lieutenant Vara and program the contact information of some great doctors that are still, well, in this galaxy for her to contact should she need help or advice. I've also sent messages to my mother on Beta Z. She's been there since the Dominion War, helping to coordinate rebuilding the infrastructure. I told her to also take another file I've sent her and read it to my father at his resting place on Proxima when she has a chance. I know my father would have been so proud that I have been given command of an exploration ship. Though I've only been on the Ophion for about a year, it has become a home to me. I'm sure with time I will be able to make the Lysithea my home as well. End log.
All right, very good. So, what we're going to do is we're going to do a very brief sort of scene, or maybe a longer one. And literally, Beckett, it is you in your sick bay. Vara can or cannot be present, depending on your preference. And yeah, it's, as you said, you're just sort of recording logs, recording information, useful things for Vara, who is not an ensign anymore. She should be a lieutenant. There we go. So yeah, any particular in-character nuggets of wisdom you'd like to impart to Vara?
I will leave her a probably just a listing of some of the more difficult cases that I've had, and how, by chance or mistake that I came up with the proper result. I'll leave her with information for, as I said, some other chief medical officers aboard other ships, so that way she can contact them if she needs it. I will also leave the file of the picture of me being really scary as a dragon, and tell her that if Panek gives her too much hassle, to just program it and then leave uh, a series of code that it will appear every time he opens his door. But other than that, just tell her how proud I am of her, and how that I'm partially to blame for her now being the chief medical officer, and that I think she'll do a great job.
Okay. I think it'll be better if Vara is not present while you're doing this. So this will just be kind of a thing you leave for her to peruse at her own what's the word I want? Her own time, I guess. So
Okay.
yeah.
I'll also leave her a like a small note saying that uh, that in my desk, like locked in a secret compartment, is one of the most useful things a doctor could ever have, and it'll be actually a bottle of Scotch whiskey.
Hmm. I don't know how much effect that'll have on Vara since she's a Bolian, but I think she'll appreciate the thought.
The other reason I said that is because in one of the earlier episodes, I had kind of trailed off of me taking her out of another scene by telling her about the medicinal purposes of alcohol and whiskey, as far as like antiseptics and things like that. So it's kind of a
A
inside joke.
callback. I gotcha.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, with that out of the way, your only duty at this point is to report to the going away party, which does give the opportunity for anyone else. So before the going away party, is there any bits of RP people would like to get out of the way? Just so you all know that the going away party will take place approximately 3 hours before you arrive at Deep Space Daedalus. And it's probably not a good thing if you try to get wasted because you're pretty much going to be sent right back out after Beckett gets promoted and change of command and all that.
Drink responsibly. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. No major RP until the party starts.
Okay.
Yeah, none that I can think of. Yeah, because everything would just be very, very short, small little scenes, so it's not that big of a deal.
Okay. Merther and Locke, Panek.
Nothing for me.
If Matic was here, I probably would. But
Okay. Alrighty. In that case, we're going to skip ahead to the going away party. So, as I try to get everything on the map here, so Beckett, you of course are fashionably late to your own party because that is how things work in this universe. And you can see that the duck is packed. It is filled not only with most of the transfers that are going to the Lysithea, but there's a lot of people from Beta Shift, from Gamma Shift. Pretty much every member of the senior staff is here. And yeah, you just sort of walk in, and you also see that in the corner, we'll say to the south, there is a live band playing, and it's very similar to the ones to the ones we see on TNG, where it's just Riker with his trombone and a few other officers with drums. You know, very upbeat sort of party music type thing. And yeah, I'm gonna let you guys run the scene for a little bit here, and I'll jump in as needed.
When
Merthren will sort of wave hello, but he's sort of half obscured by Creaser. So
um, when Beckett walks in, he will do his traditional patting the large brass duck on the head, and he'll walk in with a pad and walk over to Srika and hand him the pad, informing him that these are effectively the recipes for every alcohol he's made so far. Because when I said who I was gonna give all the information to about the still and everything, I forgot about that we actually had a named bartender.
Yeah.
So I will give the pad to Srika that has all the recipes and instructions.
Of course, she'll take it, look it over, and smile in a very, I would say, unnerving way if you didn't know how Gorn smiles, but considering she's been on the ship just as long as anyone else, at this point you know that that is a grin of happiness rather than, a toothy display of force. And she says, well, this is quite useful indeed. I don't know how well the replicators will make it, but I don't know. We'll see what I can do.
No, I mean like, you know what, Srika, you need to talk to Prag after all of this, and Prag will let you in on what those recipes actually mean.
All right, I will do just that.
And then Beckett will just, I think this seat right about here, in between Maddock and Lindholm, will work just fine. And just take a drink and kind of tink glasses or bottles with Maddock and Lindholm, and then I don't know. I guess that's where he'll sit and stay.
Okay. Let's do it this way. Let's start at the top and we'll work our way down. So, Captain, what are you doing during the party?
Captain is going to pull a Riker. He's going to grab a 6-string guitar and join the band.
Oh, very nice.
And he will pull. I will use my rarely used trill trait to pull up a focus from one of my past lives, and I will pull singing talent.
Okay, this is
So
interesting.
So I can actually sing if you want me to, but for the sake of the stream, I probably won't.
You know what? Let's make a roll out of it just because I want you guys to have momentum. Oh
Okay.
God, what would this even be?
I would think presence and con, maybe?
I could see presence. Sure, let's do presence con. Why not?
Either that or command.
Ooh, presence and command would work too.
You know what? Either's fine. You know, this is a
Okay.
silly roll to begin with, so either is perfectly fine. All right, you guys have one momentum. That's good.
Yeah.
So, just out of curiosity, what style of song are you singing? Is it a western? Is it country music? Is it hard rock?
Something along the lines of an upbeat, I don't want to say country song, but more of a folk songy type.
Okay.
Yep. Something about space being home and, all the wonders of the galaxy at ours to command.
All right. And yeah,
And-
you actually give a pretty good performance. You do have that table nearest to you, which has Zuri, Tai, Jisa, and Vara. They're all sort of just watching you and nodding, and a few of them are tapping their feet along with the music. All right, so that's what Skull's doing. Panek, what are you up to?
Oh, I'm just over here scolding Zeb on some infraction that he's made recently.
But Commander, I thought it was Casual Friday.
Not on the bridge, it's not. Especially on Gamma Shift.
But
And I
Tin said it was Casual Friday, and Tin never lies.
I am not calling into question Chief Tin's truthfulness. However, I believe even Casual Friday has its limits, and even the Betazoids wear something, barring special occasions.
All right, well, won't happen again, sir.
And next time, please, do not report for duty right after your mud bath.
Sure, Commander. I thought that. What was the smell offensive?
It was the filth everywhere.
Oh, I see. Well, it won't happen again, sir.
Very good.
All right. Up next is Mirthrin. What you doing?
But I think Mirthrin's probably singing the praises of the Nova class to Krisa and Serrano since they're transferring to it.
Luna, not Nova, but close.
Luna, sorry. Have I been thinking of the wrong one? Let me just check what the Luna class looks like. Is it the tiny one?
No, the tiny one is the Nova. The Luna class is a scale 5. It's
that
actually a
one,
little
yes.
bit bigger than the
Actually-
Ophion.
As it turns out, that's actually one of my favorite ship designs.
Ah, there you go.
Going on and on and on about the Nova classes, and no one has the heart to correct him that it's the Luna.
No, it will be the Luna class.
Well, of course, Zenixia is as Zenixia does. She's very rapt at attention, just absorbing information like a sponge. And Carissa and her brother are also
nothing can beat the Voyager class for speed, and the Nova class is a lovely little ship, but the Lunar class. If you want to be on a science vessel, you cannot go better than a Lunar class. They are just, the sensor suites on those things are phenomenal. I reckon you could probably pinpoint a mouse from orbit.
So Nixia thinks for a moment and says, would you say that they are comparable to our own sensors?
Oh, no, much better. No, our sensors are, I mean, they're good, don't get me wrong, but the Ophion's a generalist vessel. They are, like, even the Voyager outclasses us in sensor department.
Well, I would love to take a tour of a vessel such as that if we get the chance.
Well, we may get the chance, depending on how long we'll be in dock while the transfer happens.
Well, I'll guess I'll just sort of wait and see. And it's about that time that we sort of shift a little bit to the next table over. And Shatsu is kind of mid-conversation with Hailong, and Locke, you're there at the same table. And Shatsu says, and it was at that point that I realized that the rest of the crew was insinuating that Locke and I were in a relationship. And both Shatsu and Hailong laugh. I don't know if Locke laughs.
Forces a laugh.
And Hailong responds, well, I mean, that's understandable. I mean, to tell you the truth, for a long time back when I was on the Arcadia, there was sort of this rumor or sentiment that myself and the captain were dating simply because I gave him my sword. And I don't know how knowledgeable you are about my species culture, but that's more of a sort of an honor thing than it is an affectation. And at that point, Hailong does kind of tilt her head aside, think for a moment, turn to Locke and says, you know, I'm surprised you didn't say anything before now. Could it be that you're actually interested in a relationship with Shatsu here?
I don't have much in the way of experience for that sort of thing. I didn't know how to bring it up.
So Shatsu just kind of looks sideways at you and says, I'm not hearing a no.
Locke just goes bluer. And oh look, Beckett's here. I need to say goodbye to him. I made him a special bottle.
And he disappears.
Yeah. I grab a bottle of tequila I have and I dash over.
Ninja vanish.
Bolian cloaking device engaged.
The last thing I think Locke will hear, and maybe Mirthrin will overhear this a little bit, but Shatsu and Hailong will just have a laugh, and Hailong and Shatsu will kind of agree that sort of thing is tremendously cute. But yeah.
I will probably trip over every single chair on the way there.
So Beckett, God, my voice cracked. Beckett, you see Locke running over to you as if being chased by a targ. And he finally gets to you, looks at you with a little bit of panic in his eyes, and Locke, you can go ahead.
Captain, as a little going away party gift, I have a bottle of tequila, which you need to drink right now.
I need to drink it right now?
Well, it's a party, it's a celebration. I've also lightly irradiated all the ethanol molecules in this, and so they're individually detectable by the transporter. So you can polish off this entire bottle with Matic, and we can then beam away the alcohol after you finish when you're ready to go back on duty.
Beckett just kind of slowly turns his head to Matic and shrugs. Well, I've never been a tequila man, but I mean, special circumstances, right?
I was actually trying for a Scotch, but the different tannins, the flavors weren't complementary with the slight radiogenic particles necessary for the transporter lock. So tequila ended up meshing well. So there was less aftertaste of the spiking.
Well, thank you very much.
You heard it here first, folks. Radiation and tequila is a good combination.
Beckett will just reach over the bar as Sarika's busy with somebody else and we'll just grab a bunch of glasses and pour some of the tequila out for everybody that's going over to the Lysithea, and kind of hold up the glass for a toast, and we'll toast to new beginnings, new adventures, and new places to explore.
There's sort of a here, and all the glasses tank, and everybody finishes their little shot of tequila.
Captain makes a good sounding riff on the guitar.
Well, thanks, Locke. I know you and I have been on the same side of a lot of arguments, and I've kind of ribbed you a little bit hard about seeing you with Shatsu and all of that's going on, but don't take this the wrong way, but stay paranoid. Just because you're not paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you.
I will miss you greatly. Captain. Still commander or captain now?
I guess officially it's still commander until I step on the new ship, because you can't really have two captains on the same ship. But yeah, Mr. works just fine. Doctor as well.
Yeah.
And don't let anybody give you too hard of a time.
What's Vara's designation now? Lieutenant? Because she's not officially a doctor; she's still a nurse. Would it be a Nurse Vara, Lieutenant Vara?
I think by rank it's Lieutenant Vara. Actually, I know by rank it's Lieutenant Vara, but as last her and I talked, she is still only a nurse, but she is also doing a I guess it would be a correspondence course for her doctorship.
Doctorate? Yeah.
Doctorate. Okay. That was the word I'm looking for. This tequila, man, it's making me fumble my words.
It's good stuff. Yes.
But I believe that's where we're at now, because normally it's a doctor who is the CMO, but I kind of wanted to make an exception.
Well, we are still short-staffed after the Dominion War.
Very much so.
The doctors for the Jem'Hadar knew how to target non-coms and doctors.
I know full well and firsthand that the Jem'Hadar didn't care if it was a hospital ship or not. Yeah, actually, what you bring up is kind of why I was taken aback when they offered me the spot, because there's not a lot of doctors left. I mean, hell, even Beverly Crusher stepped down from head of Starfleet Medical just to get back onto a ship. So times are rough.
Even behind the in the big seat, you're still a doctor. I'm sure it's helpful to have two doctors in an unfamiliar place and more medical experience.
True, very true.
I'll leave you to talk to Maddox and wander over and sit by Panek. Avoid looking at Chinitsu.
I'm actually reminded of the scene, if you remember the TNG episode where everybody loses their memory and they nearly blow up this poor defenseless alien culture. You remember that one scene in 10 Forward where Ensign Ro, is it Ro?
Ro,
where Ensign Ro and the counselor are just sort of discussing, and they share a look as Riker walks in, and Riker's like, "Oh God." That's kind of what I'm imagining here for Locke. All right. Finally, I believe the only person we have left is Mr. Maddox. So, Maddox, what are you doing at this going away party, if anything?
Besides doing the tequila, he is reading datapads.
Really?
Like he is trying to memorize everything about the Lysithea. This is his first chief engineering job in 5 or so years. So he's having to re-up himself on the protocols and all that stuff.
And seeing him do this, Beckett will pull a pad out of the cargo pocket of his pants. Oh yeah, I I don't know if anybody's told you, but there's another piece of hardware that's going to be on the ship that, well, it's going to kind of be your responsibility to take care of. And
Hmm.
Beckett will
I'll,
hand him the pad with all the specs for the Chanel cloaking device.
I'll look at the cloak. I'll look at the specs, lay it down next to the other data pads, and I'll just look at him. How many engineers am I going to be getting?
None. You're doing the whole thing by yourself. I thought all you
Beautiful.
engineers were miracle workers.
That sounds wonderful, Commander. Just get me a Denoblin assistant. We'll be set.
As far as I know, the Lysithea is fully stocked on young, eager engineers that just need someone to yell at them and tell them what to do. So it's
My
part of
specialty.
it's part of the reason that when given the opportunity and what we're going to be doing, that I felt that you would be a great fit for the ship instead of pulling someone that knows nothing about where we're going to head up the department. And plus, you'll still have that big computer brain of yours, and Chief Hylong's coming along for the ride too. So you'll have all the help I can give you.
All right. I'll probably have a team specialize on this cloaking device on top of everything else that this ship gets. So, and Matic kind of like leans in close and kind of like puts an arm around Beckett, kind of covers his mouth up with one hand so that way it's kind of like no one can read his lips. He's talking real quiet to Beckett. So, I understand that should things go sideways on the other side, the portal's getting shut down. If every is, I don't want, is everyone that's coming aboard okay with that? Like, do they accept that fact, or because last thing I want to do is be in a completely other galaxy and have half the ship mutiny.
Well, as far as it's my understanding, no, they don't know. That's another reason that I'm wanted to bring you, Hylong, and I'll nod over to Lotus and Svarja. That's why I'm bringing you guys and Lynn home. So if there is what you're talking about, the command staff will be able to hold the ship together. But I would only do that as a last ditch possible effort. I'm not just going to, oh my god, we're overwhelmed, and blow the gate. But if anybody gets past us and gets those things working, that gate is being shut down.
Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna argue with you about it. I'm gonna make sure you're doing the right. I'm gonna make sure you're making the right call. But whenever it comes down to it, if you can't hit that button, I will.
Well, one thing that I am definitely going to do is the last thing that's going to go through that gate is going to be information and effectively messages from the crew. And then we're going to get rid of it. But I look forward to good-natured discussions on whether or not what I'm doing is the right thing. But yeah, if we cannot hold that gate, and if we cannot stop those things from coming through, that gate is getting destroyed. And if I'm incapacitated, every one of us that's coming from this ship will know that it is their job to make sure that gate gets destroyed. And Beckett will kind of lean the tequila glass towards Matic in kind of a gesture of like, are you with me on this?
Matic clinks his glass with Beckett's and downs it.
All right. So, not to cut this short, but did anyone have any other points of order they wanted to accomplish during the party?
Not at my end.
Okay.
I like to actually do like one little half scene,
Sure.
just before things are wrapping up, when Maddox is really three sheets to the wind, Locke's gonna walk over to him and like, Mr. Maddox, you were married, right?
Didn't quite make it to that stage, but to an extent, yes.
I don't have a lot of experience with women or dating or something like that. Do you have any advice?
Be honest.
How do you know if someone likes you?
You
Tell me
don't.
about love. As I just put Maddox completely on the spot.
Yeah.
How much have you had?
To drink?
Yes.
Matic, the
No.
Bolians here, if it's short of like warp reactor coolant, it's not going to affect him. So he's completely sober.
Okay.
But if I can tell you from my experiences, the best way to know is if you wake up every morning, go to bed every night, and this person is the first and the last thing that you think of. And Beckett will kind of like give a knowing nod. Then that's what that means. It means that maybe you should do something about it.
Maddox will reach out and put a hand on Locke's shoulder and just say, "Look, you just walked up and said you don't know what you're doing. You basically, the way you walked up to me, you were like, hey, look, I need advice. I don't know what's going on, or I don't know how to deal with relationships. Just walk up to them, whoever it is, and just say, hey, I'm interested in you. I'd like to spend time with you and get to know you. I have not experienced in this, and I'm not good at this, so it may be awkward. Don't try to be Mr. Smooth if you're not Mr. Smooth. You're not Rico Suave.
Women are hard. Espionage is so much simpler.
Well, think of it this way. When it comes to that espionage, women, they are, without a doubt, the greatest interrogator you will ever find. If you're hiding it, they're going to find it out. But my other piece of advice is there's two people on the ship that you should probably talk to. More so than us two. One is Jisa, because that's her job, because she won't tell anybody. She won't make fun of you for it. The two of us will probably make fun of you for it. And the other one, honestly, from all my experience with his race, talk to the captain. Off books. Because chances are, actually I know for a fact, his little buddy Skull knows women better than probably anybody else in this room.
Thank you
His
for the
little
advice.
buddy Skull. You could have put that so much better, Beckett.
Hey, it's
good tequila.
We've been drinking. Shut up.
Is that an order?
And then I'll pour 2 more shots for Matic and myself.
I'll take that as a yes. Also, I'll kind of give like a side glance at Beckett to let him know that, like, hey, let's fuck with him for a second. You might want to go talk to Panek. I heard he's actually pretty good with the ladies.
Oh, that you should have seen him at that bar on 214. Man, I thought I was good getting communication numbers for the captain, but whew, Panek puts me to shame.
Layered.
Okay.
They're too-
It's okay. I nod and I walk over to go talk to Panek.
Oh no.
And then as he does, Beckett, without making really any like big movement, just takes his glass and leans it over to Maddox to clink it like a job well done.
Maddox clinks it, and then he kind of like nods his head, and he sort of like glides over to go near Zeb and Quakerbus just to listen in.
Oh boy. So
You
this
probably-
is gonna happen.
Young love.
Do we want it to happen, or just want to like?
Oh, no.
I feel
You
like
guys
you want to
brought
leave it
this
to
up.
imagination how awful and awkward it gets.
No, I want to see at least a few moments of this.
Okay.
So, Commander Panek, if I could have a brief, can I ask you a personal question? Some advice?
Uh-oh, Panek, you're talking, but we're not hearing anything.
How about now?
Yes, we
Yes,
can
yeah.
hear you now.
Advice, Lieutenant? What can I help you with?
I was wondering if you had any advice on women in love, or doesn't need to be necessarily women. I'm not judging. It's just in this case, it is particularly women, and I'm just going to stop talking now and let you talk.
I just kind of look at him for a second. Are you inebriated, Lieutenant?
No, I'm not sure that's possible.
You're showing signs of distress. Do you need to report to Lieutenant Vara?
No, I don't think. Raises an eyebrow. I don't think Lieutenant Vara would be very conducive in this situation.
You wish to understand female sexes and love. First, I would have to say love is an irrational emotion, and one that does not factor into a lot of Vulcan relationships. I am not sure what help I could possibly be, but I will try. Is there a specific question you need to ask?
How do you know when someone likes you?
I believe there are quite a few physical manifestations that can let you determine this. I understand pupils tend to dilate. Blood tends to move towards the face.
Oh, okay. I should have brought a pad for notes.
Yes. Lieutenant Jissa could teach you how to read body language. This, I understand, with other species, this comes as part of the methods of mating. With Vulcans, it's very much different. I have been betrothed to Valul since we were children, and I have not seen her for 45 years.
Oh, I didn't know you were married.
We have not completed the ceremony of Konut Kalafri yet.
Is that like second base or
Base? We are not currently at a star base. She is on Vulcan.
Never mind. I don't. I don't know enough about Vulcan mating rituals or culture.
We tend to keep them to ourselves, as you can see. It is not a subject that translates well to other species. I believe, judging from the looks that Commander Maddox and Commander Beckett have been throwing our way, that you've been had, Lieutenant.
I would agree with that assessment. I'm happy to have brought them such mirth for their final bed day.
Indeed.
I feel very informed and even more confused about the situation.
This is quite out of character for me, Lieutenant, but I would recommend you get them back before they leave. I believe you won't have the opportunity for too much longer.
Oh, yes, sir. I think I know just how.
Oh no, what have you unleashed?
Oh, I think the captain said it best in chat. Forget whatever else is happening in this episode. This is happening. Alright. This actually went about as well as I hoped. And I find it funny because I know for a fact Beckett and Locke are married, and I think I heard Locke's wife in the background there for a little bit, so...
You brought me smoothie.
Ah, there you go.
I am not, by the way, but
Oh, I
thank you
thought you
very
were.
much.
Oh, that's my mistake then. I always thought you were. All right. Well, not to cut any scenes short here, but I think this is a perfect opportunity to kind of transition to the next scene. So, party goes on for another hour or so, and then eventually all the senior staff, including Beckett, get a message from the bridge, and pretty much the message says, Sirs, we are approaching DSD. If you could report to the bridge, please.
On
Acknowledged.
our way.
All right.
Hand the guitar back and signal the rest of the band to keep on playing.
Beckett's gonna wait to be the last one of the senior staff to leave.
Okay.
And then as he walks out, he'll just kind of like take a look over the crew that's still in the duck, and kind of a reflection pause standing next to the brass duck, and then he'll kind of kiss his fingers and then just kind of pat the brass duck on the head and then walk out.
Okay. All right. Let us then transition to the scene. So,
In the turbolift up, I'm going to quickly ask our budding captain. So, are you going to replicate a duck for your new ship, or are you going to choose a different animal?
I don't know. I don't think it's up to me. If you remember, I might have been the one that named the duck on the Ophion, but I wasn't the captain. So, whatever the crew wants to call it, the crew can call it.
Wise decision, Captain. Wise decision indeed.
all right. So, all of you arrive on the bridge, and almost as if the officer on duty was anticipating it, they have already put the image of the Lysithea on the view screen. And what you see is a brand new shiny Luna class. For those that are not particularly familiar with the ship, it is slightly longer and much wider than the Ophion. However, it is still smaller than a Sovereign class. Although it's not currently docked with DSD, there's all sorts of shuttles and transports going between it and the station, and it generally looks like a ship that is preparing for a very long journey. And pretty much as soon as all of you get situated on the bridge, and this would include Beckett, there is an incoming hail from the station.
On screen.
And just as a side note, Beckett can't control the smile that's on his face.
I figured. All right, so on screen is your good buddy, the Cation Rear Admiral Thesso, and he sort of smiles at all of you and says, "Well, crew of the Ophion, welcome back to DSD. It's been quite some time since we saw you last. I'm glad you made it back here in one piece."
Admiral Thessel, it is good to see you again. I apologize for the unscheduled detour.
Well, I think it's nothing that we can't make light of. I understand you were able to acquire quite a cornucopia of information regarding the Tholians.
Yes, both Starfleet Intelligence and the Diplomatic Corps will most likely be busy for the next year or so going over what we observed alone. And how's the Sabine Expanse been in our absence?
It's been fairly quiet, actually. There was a minor incident with the Connecticut where we lost contact for a period of 2 weeks, but they are perfectly fine. They simply were in a nebula that was blocking communications. Other than that, nothing really interesting going on here. We're still researching the Takan's solar transporter. We're also still sort of keeping vigil over the subspace portal. And other than that, business as usual.
I'd like to have the logs transferred to the ship regarding the recent incidents with the Breen.
Certainly we can make that happen.
Thank you, Admiral. And I believe we have a newly minted captain who is, I believe, now going to be under your flag.
Indeed. And there's a very subtle shift on the screen as Thesso, his eyes shift just enough to look at Beckett. and he says, Mr. Beckett, whenever you are ready and willing, it is my understanding that your first officer, Commander Cam, is ready to provide you the captain's tour whenever you're ready. And whenever you are done with the tour, we will do the actual promotion ceremony and change of command on the bridge.
Very well, Admiral. If it is all right with you, I'd like to bring Captain Skull with me. But I can be ready to go whenever everybody else is ready.
Consider it your first decision as captain, then. And Thesso smiles at all of you and says, unless there's anything else, I will be taking my leave.
I'd be honored to join you, Captain.
Then let's say 15 minutes. We'll beam over.
I shall meet you in Transporter Room 1. Sorry, point of order, GM. Commander Cam, you mentioned that Cam's a chameleoid. Was that the same Cam that was in the Rom? Was that the same chameleoid that was the Romulan double agent?
No, this is someone
Nope,
completely
okay.
different.
Good to know. I knew species. I forgot names.
That's okay.
I just didn't want to role play my foot into my mouth.
Okay.
So before everyone leaves, I also go to the transporter room, lock onto the radiogenic signature, and beam all the ethanol out of Maddock and Beckett.
Nice.
Like I said I would. And also 0.5% of their body water, so they have the mother of all hangovers regardless.
Oh, I'm not even going to have them roll opposing rolls for it. I'm just going to let it happen.
And then Beckett makes the magic juice.
Oh boy! All right.
Phrasing?
That is a good get back.
That was on purpose.
That was good. All right.
One very small scene to do of
Sure.
going to transporter room 1. I would kind of like Panek to walk us. Oh crap! He just said he was going to be gone. I kind of want Panek to walk us there because there was another callback that I wanted to do, not a prank or anything, but kind of as like the captain and I are standing on, or Skull and I are standing on the transporter pad, to just thank Panek for being the loyal opposition, for being a great XO, and then Beckett will hold up the Vulcan hand sign and tell him to live long and prosper.
Okay. Very
And
fitting.
then as the transporter chief's getting ready to do his thing, Beckett will go, wait, one more thing. Commander Panek, Romania. Romania is where my family is from on Earth. As far back as we can trace the genealogy, that's where we were from. If I were you, I would look up the history of that particular part of Earth. It's quite interesting. And then he'll kind of motion to the transport chief. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. And
All right.
Panek's not here to hear any of that.
Yeah, it's great.
He'll have to catch on recording.
Yep. All right, so, blue shimmering light as you dematerialize and rematerialize on the Lysithea. And we're going to use my lovely new Theater of the Mind map because it's just that awesome.
It is so beautiful.
Yes.
It's all the colors of the rainbow.
All right, so waiting for you down from the pad is looks to be a fairly human woman. She has long white hair. She has sort of white and yellow or white and gold ribbons that are in her hair. And currently she is actually in her dress whites. And as you materialize, she sort of extends a hand and says, Commander Beckett, sir. And I believe Captain Skull, is it? It's a pleasure to meet you both.
Likewise, Commander.
Commander Cam, I take it the ship is in good condition under your command?
It is indeed, sir. I have prepared a comprehensive tour for us to go over the key stations and locales on the ship.
Excellent. I hope you don't mind that I brought my current commanding officer with us.
No, not at all.
And then please lead on.
All right. So, Cam begins to show the two of you through the Lysithea. And obviously, she's hitting the main engineering, the holodecks, stellar cartography, some of the labs, things of that nature. And as she's showing these sorts of things off to you, she's sort of rattling off information about the Luna class. Well, at least about the Lysithea in particular. And at any point during my ramblings, you can just feel free to interrupt me, but Cam starts off with saying, well, sir, you can know that our cruising speed is approximately warp 7, and that our maximum speed is comparable to the Ophion's maximum speed of warp 9.975. So we can go like a bat out of hell, I believe is the expression. Like the Ophion, we've had hollow emitters installed throughout the ship. So in case you wanted hollow security members or CMOs, or not CMOs, EMHs on hand, all that can happen very easily. Speaking of the crew, though, there are approximately 350 individuals on board, and over 25 planets are represented, and not all of them are from Class M worlds. In fact, I believe we have several, in fact, that are from demon planets. Which kind of brings me to my next point, in that you may know this already, sir, but the Luna class has a state-of-the-art life support system. It can handle pretty much every sort of environment imaginable. And not only for our crew, but in case we run into any non-humanoid or non-standard sentient species we wish to host or study. And she does pause, and at this point, she would have brought you to one of the labs. And you do see some people inside working, and of course they snap to attention when you walk in, and Cam sort of waves them off, and they go back to working. And she says, though it's not really a visible thing, sir, you should know that all the research facilities on the ship are hardwired into the computer's arrays, so our processing power is quite advanced. Also of note, sir, I think this is probably the main ticket item, that the Lysithea is equipped with a Midas Link equipment pod. And she does pause here as if to gauge your reaction.
Beckett looks mildly confused.
Okay.
I'm not familiar, Commander. Care to explain?
Of course, sir. The Midas pod hooks back up with the Midas array near Earth, which allows for near real-time communication back to Starfleet from distances up to 50,000 light years. It is the same system that enabled Voyager to communicate with Earth before its return to the Alpha Quadrant. Obviously, sir, I don't think I need to say that 50,000 light years isn't going to reach back from the Andromeda Galaxy, but my understanding is that a relay is going to be placed on either side of the portal that will then provide a window of 30 minutes each day for communication back to the Alpha Quadrant.
Excellent. Reading some of the specs on the ship and such, I kind of expected that we're going to have a lot to thank Captain Janeway and the Voyager.
Indeed, they sort of set the standard for pathfinding operations in a non-supportive window.
Well, we will absolutely make use of every one of those advancements. And I take it you were also aware of a couple pieces of hardware that we're going to be bringing on the ship?
Yes, sir. I am aware of the cloaking device. I'm also aware of a certain personal item of yours, though it's not appearing on any official schematics. I think you'll find that your brewing materials have been relocated to a smaller cargo bay on Deck 12 for your convenience.
Beckett will smile and kind of scratch his beard because that's literally what I just did. Well, I thank you for that. But that actually wasn't the other piece of equipment I was talking about. Our new chief engineer has a very powerful computer system that he will be bringing with him. But I'm sure that neither that nor the cloaking device will be any problem for him or his staff to handle.
Oh, not at all. I actually believe that right about now is when the transfer of the AI should take place.
Wonderful. But yes, I thank you for bringing along my hobby. I'm sure I will keep the crew in good spirits with it. Pun intended.
Well, sir, the only other big ticket item that I wanted to show you off was the sick bay, and of course she brings you to sick bay. And as soon as you walk in, Commander Cam says, "Computer, please activate the EMH." And the EMH, kind of materializes, and you see that it is the Mark 7 model, which I sort of came up with famous physicians. If any of you are familiar with Mae Jemison, hopefully I'm saying her last name right. Basically, the first African American woman in space. That is who this EMH is modeled after. And of course, the EMH says, "Please state the nature of the medical emergency."
Beckett will look at the EMH and look back at at Captain Skull. This one looks a lot better than ours.
Indeed.
And then I'll look at Cam. We appeared to have had a prankster on our ship who decided to change the EMH, because I don't really like them, to be a Klingon. Or Sean Connery. One of the two.
No, not to worry, sir. On our transit here from Utopia Planitia, I had the crew working overtime to make sure that there were no more, I believe they're called Easter eggs, left in our systems. Especially those left by certain Vulcans.
Wonderful. And Beckett has a really big smile on his face. But I was told we are still going to have a CMO, correct?
Yes, indeed. They are... Hold up, I actually have to look at the sheet you made.
Lieutenant Commander Natala, a
yes.
Denobulan female.
Miss Natala is not reported for duty yet. It is my understanding that there is some item that she is handling on DSD at the moment, but rest assured, we are ready to depart within the hour if need be.
Wonderful. And I'm sure you can guess why, but let's see if we can not only meet all of her requirements as far as supplies, but let's see if we can get some extra from DSD.
I'll make it happen, sir.
But other than that, this whole thing looks just glorious. I don't know what else to say.
Well, I believe I know one way to make it better, if you gentlemen will follow me to the bridge. And yeah, we transition to the bridge of the Lysithea, where waiting for you is Rear Admiral Thesso, and I gotta put Skull on here. And also, pretty much most of the members of your senior staff. Hylong's here, Lotus is here, Sfarja is here. And as you step onto the bridge, an ensign says, "Captain on deck." Everyone goes to attention. And
Skull goes to attention too.
Very nice. And Thesso sort of waves Beckett over to stand next to him.
Beckett will comply.
All right.
Incoming hail from the Ophion bridge.
All right. Cam
Just
puts it
kind of
on screen.
Put us on the screen then in the background. We don't have to say anything.
Okay. Yeah, I figured you guys wanted to see it anyway. All right. So all of you watch as Thesso brings out a pad and says, "I hope you don't mind, Commander, but I've prepared a very brief sort of speech for this. It is a very momentous occasion, and I thought I'd mark the occasion."
Beckett will nod and Admiral's prerogative.
Well, luckily it's a very brief thing. And he clears his throat, looks at the pad, and says, "The promotion to captain is as much an honor as it is a burden. You will be expected to shepherd over 300 men and women and everything in between. Their lives are firmly in your hands. Everything you do and say, even those things that you don't, is going to be scrutinized by crew and the upper brass alike. However, you wouldn't be standing here if you weren't ready for such a command. You've proven yourself both a tremendously capable doctor and an exemplary leader. The crew of the Lysithea could not ask for a better captain. Thus, by the power invested in me, and by Starfleet Command, I hereby promote you to captain. Wear the pips with pride and distinction." And he puts the pad away, he pulls out a fresh golden pip, and puts it on your collar.
Beckett will nod, again not being able to contain his smile, and quietly thank the Admiral and extend his hand after the Admiral gets done with the pip.
All right, and as you have a very firm handshake with the Admiral, there's at least applause on the bridge of the Lysithea. I'm imagining there's probably some on the Ophion, but who knows?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I will take this duty and this responsibility of the ship and this crew to heart, and I would not ask anyone to do anything I would not be willing to do myself.
Very good. Well, in that case, it is fortuitous that you brought Captain Skull with you. First, I do have your official mission for you. And he hands you a pad, and on it is the orders for the Lysithea, which you all should now be able to see. Pretty standard rundown. I think the major points of order that I'd like to point out as a GM is that instead of a 5-year mission like the original Enterprise, it is a 2-year mission, which might be extended, it might not be, we'll see. Other than that, it's pretty similar to that of the Enterprise.
But they even put the boldly go where no man has gone before in writing.
Mm-hmm. And
that's how the Federation do.
Yep. And the other point of order, once you've sort of had a moment to look over your orders, Thesso says, "This is, of course, a recommendation than a strict order, but both Captain Beckett and Captain Skull, I believe this is a prime opportunity for you all to test your new equipment, both the Chanel transporters and the Chanel cloak, respectively. I have gone ahead and arranged a testing ground approximately 12 hours away at Warp 7. Whenever you two see fit, if at all, go ahead and report to said testing grounds and test out your new equipment."
Very well.
Beckett will nod. Yes, Admiral.
Sounds like fun. I believe we're also getting a new transporter chief from the DSD, correct?
Oh, yes. I believe there's quite a few personnel transfers going on as we speak.
I'll have to make sure our new transporter chief is familiar with the operations.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. And again, best of luck, Captain. And he nods at Beckett. I will be returning to my office on the station should you require me.
Thank you, Admiral.
And he smiles, starts walking to the turbo lift, and right as the doors open, he kind of looks back over his shoulder and says, "Oh, and once again, congratulations, Captain." And he steps into the turbo lift and disappears.
I'm going to look at Beckett and say, "Man, you got a far better commencement speech than I did when I got my 4th pip. Congratulations."
Thank you, Captain. I wouldn't be here without you.
You see that I have a sarcastic remark sitting on the tip of my tongue. Then I realize I'm on your bridge, and I'm not going to say it. Instead, I'm going to give a mock salute, and I'm going to... If you don't mind, Captain, I will leave you to your ship. I have, as you know, the duties of command are And listen, I have some things to oversee on board my ship before we head out to these testing grounds.
Of course, Captain Skull. And one last thing that I've always wanted to tell one of my commanding officers.
Oh?
Get off my ship. And Beckett will just have a really big smile on his face.
I'm just going to snap to attention to a proper cadet salute and go, aye, aye, sir.
And I'll give a very nonchalant salute back and thank the captain again.
180 pivot and then goose step off the bridge.
Oh, and just because Sparja feels like chipping in, she will actually escort you off the bridge into a transporter room.
You know, Svarja, there's this thing called sarcasm, and we were just okay, fine.
Like... I thought about asking Sparja and Lindholm to escort you off the ship, but I thought just saying it would be fine.
Well, Svarja's taking initiative. Whether or not that deserves praise or punishment is up to you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like that scene where Picard came back from Romulus, and Picard was still a traitor to the Federation, and Riker was dead, and so Picard ordered Data to take Riker to the brig or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Riker like, Data, he was joking. Data, he was joking. Right this way, sir, to the brig.
Oh, I remember that episode well. It's one of my favorites. All right. So, there is actually a small window of opportunity here, mostly to get you guys some momentum as you both sort of work on your respective Chanel equipment. So, instead of doing a full extended task here, we're just going to do 2 rolls apiece. So, let's start with the Ophion. So, Murthrin, you, of course, are working on the Chanel transporters, the ones that let you beam through a shielded location, and to sort of get them working with your existing systems, I would say this is either a control or a daring plus engineering, and I'm going to make the difficulty here a 4 to start with.
Alrighty, let me just... Now this is to install it on our ship, right?
Say again?
So this is to install it on the Ophion, right?
Correct.
Can I play my new NPC, the new transporter chief?
Oh, you
assist?
most certainly can.
Yes. Sir, Senior Chief Chiz-Telik reporting for duty. Sir.
Yeah, Mercer will sort of looking up and down and say, very good. Sort of direct him to his post. And at that point, probably notice Zenixia noticing and going, yes, insectoid Zindi race. Quite fascinating, actually. There are species from a planet where 5 completely separate sentient races evolved simultaneously. They actually had a sort of mini federation going before the Federation even existed.
You know what? I'm just going to have to research this because I am interested.
I mean, granted, there was then a whole business where they sort of sent an energy weapon to destroy San Francisco, and but that ended up getting sorted out.
Yes, it was not our greatest species history of moments. If it wasn't for Captain Archer, who knows where the Zindi would have ended up.
Well, in the end, the diplomacy won out.
Alright, so Murthrin, you do have to get 3 more successes here. I'd recommend maybe spending momentum or giving me threat for extra die.
And this isn't an extended task, so that doesn't apply.
You know what? Let's say that extended task stuff does apply here, but we're not actually keeping track of a work track.
Okay, well that will be good because actually no, I think that still won't make a difference because this applies to resistance. Never mind.
Okay.
So just control plus engineering, and I'll spend that momentum to get 3 dice.
Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry, Matt. It was Florida, not San Francisco.
Okay. I got
They missed. Their aim was off.
Murthrin's not from Earth. He gets the place names wrong. Let's see, would alien technology apply as a focus?
Oh yeah.
2 successes.
Okay. So the good news is that this succeeds at cost. So what's going to happen in the narrative fashion is it's taking you quite a bit of time to interface the device with your existing transporter systems. To kind of use a little bit of technobabble, their Higgs boson compensators are a little bit out of phase with your normal ones, so you're basically having to rejigger the entire transporter system in order to accommodate the new compensator.
Fortunately, I may be able to solve that with an extended task at a later date.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have some talents which are very specifically appropriate to that.
Mm-hmm. And then let's have you do one more roll. And because you did not succeed, the difficulty is still going to be a 4.
All right, so same thing again.
Yep.
This time, could I bring in I know my ship to get a bonus D20 when attempting to determine the source of a technical problem?
You know what I just realized? You're the chief engineer. You always have an advantage on the ship. I need to remember these things. So actually,
right.
that was a pass.
Oh.
So...
Oh, all right, because that reduces the difficulty by 1, doesn't it?
Correct. So actually, small retcon, you are able to very easily handle the new compensator, and you're actually making tremendous progress. You were doing it very quickly and very efficiently. So the new difficulty...
We get an initial sort of hiccup. We're like, oh, hang on, the Higgs boson compensator is completely wrong. And then everyone's like, oh, no, I know the transport systems on the Ophion back to front. So rather than try and force their stuff to gel with ours, I'll just completely redo the transporters on the Ophion because that will actually be quicker and easier.
Yeah, something like that. So let's
I find it very...
Yeah, let's do one more roll. Same kind of roll. The difficulty here is now going to be with the engineering thing with the engineering advantage in play. I believe the overall difficulty is a 2 now.
Alrighty. I should be able to get away without spending anything.
Yeah. Look at that. You might be getting momentum back.
Complication.
2 successes.
All right, so you guys get 2 momentum. Very nice.
Awesome. So you're telling me that I would love to do the accent, but that's just going to be annoying as hell.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me that this thing works by not only bypassing an enemy's shields, but it actually uses the enemy's shields as a transporter enhancer, focusing
it's
it
quite
rather...
fascinating. Yes, it's a sort of like, I'd imagine they must have come up with the idea while they were trying to figure out the kinks in their cloaking devices, because it's really elegant the way it just sort of slips in sideways like that.
Phrasing.
And the power draw is very minimal.
Now, I was honestly expecting it to just be more powerful, but they seem to have figured out a way to bypass the need for extra power altogether.
I suppose that when you are trying to hide from the Tholians, then that would be a very encouraging situation to limit power usage.
I wouldn't want to try transporting unstable particles of any kind through a shield with it, though.
Agreed. In fact, we should probably test it with our with our handheld phaser batteries. We did not see the Shireen transport with energy weapons.
That's a good point. I'll schedule some tests for once we've got the thing installed properly.
All right, so relevant to you guys, there's the handout for the Chanel transporters. It's very similar to how the normal transporters work, but there's 2 big changes that are important here. The first is that there is a additional power cost involved with such transporters. In addition, well, I guess there's 3 things. The other item is that instead of being at close range, this can be at anything within long range of the ship. Finally, the other sort of trademark thing is that as long as you're not transporting to something with more than 10 shields, you can just beam right through them. And if it I think that'll work all right for the time being, but we may change that if need be down the line.
Yeah, we shall find out.
Yep. Alrighty. So, while that's going on, we're going to cut to the Lysithea and Matic. You are pretty much doing the same thing, but with the Chanel cloaking device. So, same kind of rolls. If you want to do either a control or daring plus engineering, the difficulty after accounting for the advantage is going to be a 3. And we'll say a nameless NPC can help you with that. And I'll roll for them.
All right. I'll give you a threat for a dice.
Okay.
Alien technology applies.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. All right. I don't have no way to choose it. So there's 3 successes.
Yep, 3 successes. All right, so yeah. Trying to think how to say this. So, in reviewing the Lysithea's deck plan, you realize that the best place to install the cloak is actually in the mission pod. That is sort of up and behind deck 1 and things like that. So you very carefully sort of reroute power, extra power into the mission pod that currently has the Midas array in it. Or, well, not the full array, but you know what I mean. And you make good progress. And then if you'd roll me once again, difficulty 2 this time. And again, this is all mostly to get you guys momentum.
Testing a theory. Whenever I attempt a task using engineering, I may roll 1 additional d20 so long as I succeeded at a previous task.
Oh, yeah.
Covering the same scientific tech in the field earlier.
Yeah, that'll definitely apply here.
So the
All right, so you get actually, let's see, 1, 2, you get 3 momentum, so I believe you guys are capped. Yeah, pretty much short of actually turning the thing on, Matic, you're pretty damn sure that the cloaking device is installed and operational.
Matic to Beckett.
Go ahead, medic.
Cloaking device is installed. Do you want me to do a test run?
Let's wait until we're on our run to these testing grounds. Let's not freak out everybody that's on the space station. Plus, not everybody's supposed to know we have this thing.
Right. I was just considering the fact of if it doesn't work, we're already right here.
You know what? Yeah, we're not docked. Let's turn it on. Let's say less than a minute, just to make sure that everything is covered, and then turn it right back off.
Yeah, out of character, I'm assuming we haven't been given any specific instructions not to use the cloaking device.
No. Right? My research says that pretty much after the whole Dominion War, the Romulans didn't really care too much about if Starfleet had cloaking technology. But obviously it's not like, every ship in the Federation suddenly adopted a cloaking device. And given that you literally stopped a Tal Shiar uprising and helped out the legitimate government of Romulus, I don't think they're going to freak out that you have a cloaking device.
That's right. Like, the Tal Shiar has more or less collapsed at this point, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And in finishing talking to Matic about the cloaking device. Also, you'll find at your desk in engineering something that you should probably take. Apparently, young Mr. Locke, he got us. So you'll want to take that soon. before you start doing anything else strenuous?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about something. So, yeah, he got us, blue bastard.
Yeah. So, but yeah, let's turn that on for. Let's turn it on. Check everything. Make sure we're completely covered. And then we'll turn it back off. Don't want to run the engines too hard.
All right. There should also now be a handout entitled Chanel Cloaking Device. It's, again, very similar to the Klingon and Romulan and pretty much every other cloaking device in the STA system. If I remember correctly, the only real change that I made was that the power requirement becomes 2. So let's see. So operating device is a control engineering task with a difficulty of 2, and the ship assists with engines plus security. And this counts as a tactical action. So I believe that would be Sfarja and the Lysithea.
Oh, that's not good.
What's not good?
Take a look at Sfarja's engineering score.
It's great. It's an amazing score.
Fucking hell.
In her defense, she was a soldier.
All right,
Nothing like a little on-the-job training.
Yep. So who's rolling for Sfarja and who's rolling for the Lysithea?
I've got Sfarja's sheet up, so I'll roll for her.
You're gonna ask us to roll for another ship?
That's
Um,
Make me feel dirty.
no, you little pointy-eared bastard! Keep your hands off my ship.
Matic, you should now be able to see the Lysithea as well.
Yeah. You said it was a
Engines plus security.
Oh, this is gonna be bad.
All right, so good start for the Lysithea.
Come on, Sfarja.
Hey, look at that. So yeah, I guess more relevant for the people on the Ophion, since they're going to see it happen. The Lysithea sort of shimmers and sort of fades out of existence and is no longer visible.
I'm going to quickly order Locke to run every sensor operation against the the new cloaking device.
Beat me to it.
All right.
Already started, Captain.
Thank you.
So Locke, I think you know what to roll already. I'm going to say that this is going to be a difficulty 3, and the ship will of course assist with sensors and science.
Now,
and yes, that 3
keep in
is.
mind
Sorry, go ahead.
We do have the advanced sensor modules now. So
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is that the 3 is already accounting for the advanced sensor modules.
Can I give you 2 threat for something?
Oh, what would you be giving me the 2 threat for?
Knowing that we're going to do like a war games kind of thing, Matic doesn't want them to have an advantage on the cloaking, so he would have put in some Easter eggs on the sensors.
I'll do it if you give me momentum, not threat.
We do have 6 momentum.
The Ophion has 6 momentum.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 momentum for it.
All right. So yeah, Locke, as you go to scan, either because this is something that. Oh, all right. So you guys actually get a momentum back. So either this is because Matic tampered with the systems, or because the cloaking device is that good. Locke, you do the standard sweep of cloaking detection method. So you run a metaphasic sweep, you run a tachyon detection grid, you run an anti-proton beam, and interestingly, none of those detect the cloak. Absolutely none of them.
I'm detecting high levels of matic interference and SAS.
Mr. Locke, please keep your evaluations relevant. Connect to Mr. Murthrin.
Bertrand here.
Begin pulling all data we collected when we repaired the Chanel cloak.
Will do, sir. And he'll just sort of like patch that through to the command consoles.
So yeah, you're taking a look at the schematics, and I would say just on a cursory inspection, you're not really seeing anything that would stand out. It's one of those things where you may have worked on the unit, but how do I want to say this? It's sort of like tech priests in the 41st millennium of Warhammer, where they know how to fix some things, but they don't know how those things actually work, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I can assemble a computer. I couldn't really tell you how they print the circuit boards.
Exactly. But yeah, so how long is the Lysithea going to remain in cloak, I guess is the question.
Oh.
It was like a minute,
Oh.
wasn't it?
Oh, I got a better idea. After we cloak, I'll say to the rest of the bridge crew, and still talking with Matic too. So, who wants to get a head start?
Svarge just kind of smiles and says, I'm all for it, sir. Lotus says, course is already laid in, sir. And Hailong says, I will send a red herring to the Ophion at your command, sir.
Wonderful. I've never wanted to say these words more in my entire life. Make it so.
All right. So the Lysithea does depart, and the only indication that it has done so for the Ophion is that maybe about 15 to 20 minutes after it's disappeared, you get a delayed message from Hailong to the bridge, and Shatsu just kind of looks at the message, sighs, and says, Sir, seems the Lysithea is already making their way to the testing grounds.
Is that so? Panek, Murthrin, what's the top speed of the Lysithea? Or the...
I believe it is 9.975, Captain.
That's similar to ours, if I recall
We
correctly.
can move at a warp potential of 9.9 for extended periods.
Very well. They may have left first. Let's get there first. Maximum warp. Let's go.
Lieutenant Shatsu, put us on a bearing of Mark 326.4.
Yeah, Mertrin will call to the engine staff. All right, let's not let them when this one full power to the engines. Prepare for maximum warp.
He may have a new ship, but we've had a year to break ours in.
Oh boy. I actually have to look up what the hell roll this is going to be. Let's see.
I'd say engines plus
Mertrin
determination.
taking full advantage of the fact that we're not actually in combat to just pull power from the shields and the transporters and everything.
Yeah, I got you. All right, so this is how we're going to do it. Both the Lysithea and the Ophion are going to roll me a control plus con, and each ship assists with engines plus con, and I need to know how much power each of you is spending.
Secretly, or?
Yes, each of the commanding officers, so Captain Skull and Captain Beckett, if you would whisper me how much power you are devoting to this task.
Let's do it on Discord because Skull and I are both in the Twitch chat. So if we whisper you on Roll20, it'll show up on the Twitch chat.
Oh, you know what? Good call.
Are we using a percentile number?
No, it is literally your power that is on the ship. So, for example, the Ophion has 15 at the moment.
Okay.
But bearing in mind that any power we use now, we won't have when the war games start.
Probably. Okay. Sending it to you. All right. Sent to
Okay,
EGMH.
got that. Just waiting on Beckett's decision. I suppose while Beckett's doing that, why don't we have Sona do the control plus con? And someone will also need to roll for the Ophion's engines plus con.
We'll do that.
Okay.
I can roll Sona.
2 from the Ophion.
Nice.
Sona rolling 2 dice.
Yes, she is rolling 2.
Nice.
All right. So let's see. All right. I think I know how to resolve this. I just need Lotus to roll her control plus con. And we'll see how much momentum, because I think we're going to split momentum here at this point. So just to be fair, I'm going to say that overall, we'll do it this way. Overall, we have... you guys have 5 momentum that anyone can use. And I'm trying to get to the stupid recall button, but name tags are... There we go. All right, recall. Let me recall, and I'll keep track of that.
What roll did you want Lotus to make?
Control plus con, difficulty 0. And then the Ophion, Skull, if you would take 4 momentum tokens.
Yes, sir.
Roll for the ship too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh fuck!
Oh my.
Oh no!
Wow.
Oh no!
So...
Does that mean we gain momentum? Since threat doesn't matter?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So here's the thing. That's gonna be 2 complications unless you spend the 2 momentum you just got to cancel out one of them.
Sure.
Okay. So you, unfortunately, the Lysithea will not start with any momentum, but you will suffer a complication. And we will handle that in a narrative fashion. All right, so even with you guys going maximum warp or close to it anyway, there is still a period of time in which you have a chance to RP. I would say it's somewhere in the neighborhood between 6 to 12 hours. And I'm going to start with the Ophion crew. So, Ophion crew, are you guys doing anything in particular during this time?
Yes, I'd like to. Yes, I'd like to call Mr. Locke into my ready room.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. You can start. I'm just messing
All right.
with tokens.
Yeah. Mr. Locke, at ease. This is a casual meeting.
If you say so, sir. I mean, every time I'm in your office, I always think I'm being sent to the administrator's office in the Starfleet Academy.
Ooh. Yeah, I had a couple run-ins with Administrator Cassis, I believe his name was at the time. He was a very unagreeable individual. But then again, he was a Vulcan. And I was not the most cooperative of cadets. But to be fair, most of that was me trying to figure out Skull's influence. Anyways, I just wanted to see how you're doing, Lieutenant. I couldn't help but notice that you seem to be having a bit of trouble during the farewell party. I just wanted to make sure that everything's all right with you.
I am having no problems with my job or any professional aspect of the ship. Just a little... I was pranked.
Oh.
Nothing
It
else.
happens. Very well. I just wanted to make sure that everything was going well with my senior staff. Now that there's a few fewer of us, we need to make sure that we all stick together and If you need anything, do please let me know immediately.
Yes, sir. Perhaps after the war games, we'll have a conversation. I could use
Sure.
your life experience might be valuable, but I don't want to burden you now before combat.
That's perfectly understandable, Lieutenant. To your duty. If there's nothing else, back to your duties.
Is everybody else roboting, or is it just me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's gone robotic.
All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna switch to servers and see if that fixes everything. Let's see. Let us change to save changes. All right, is that any better?
Check, check.
Yep,
Hello,
I hear
hello,
you.
hello. I can hear people.
Sounds bad.
Sounds better so far.
Yep.
All right. I think I've heard from everyone but Mirthrin. Uh-oh.
Our chief engineer's gone mute.
Not as bad. Could be worse. He could be deaf.
That is true.
Maybe a convenient time for a break as we get things back
Yeah,
sorted.
that's what I'm thinking. Let's take our break a little bit early as we figure out these tech issues. So be back at...
Testing.
Oh, no, well, maybe... You know what I said? We'll break here. It's a good break time.
Okay, cool. Well, my mic works for when we come back.
Yep. So guys, be back at about 4 o'clock sharp if you could.
From
All right.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, I'm here too. I'm pinned by Kitty, so I can't go anywhere.
It's funny, because one's going to corner you in game soon.
Oh.
Oh, thank you, Mirthril, or Sterling. I appreciate it. And yeah, you're completely correct in that, crew's bonded over these past 30 some odd weeks. It's good to see that everybody's getting along and all having a good time, and couldn't ask for a better group.
Make us blush.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Oh, Beckett, are you here? All right, he doesn't seem to be back yet.
Maddox here.
All right.
Just waiting for the kettle to boil.
Not gonna lie, all GMs get a little bit of anxiety before session starts, but I don't know. I'm super nervous for tomorrow's 40K session.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Yep.
I guess because it's a brand new system that we've had to get the PDF for, and you know.
Yeah, it's not bad. Roll D20, get under Thaco. That's
I mean, like, whenever we started with Arcadia, it's not like we knew the system.
This is true. This is true. We were definitely flying around, and we still get things wrong to this day.
Are we talking about the Wrath and Glory RPG or something different?
Oh yeah, I was just talking about that tomorrow. Yeah.
I'm all set to go. I've even got a few ready-made quotes for when he uses a special ability.
Oh, there you go.
not gonna lie. Kinda haven't read all the rules yet. That's what I'll be doing after this game.
No worries. I'm going to be doing my best to explain as we go, kind of a thing. But obviously, yeah, a glance at the rules would be nice. It's honestly not too bad.
I actually quite like it.
Yeah. I mean, coming
It's
from...
like it's a similar sort of feel to this in the sense that it's focused around rolling dice pools, but then it adds like actual hit point and damage mechanics in combat.
Yep, and the other thing that I like that's coming over from... well, it's not coming from STA, but it's very similar, is they have what are basically momentum and threat. So I like that mechanic myself. Though they are very specific on what I can spend threat on or ruin in that system.
I imagine since it's a lot more heavily combat focused.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was noticing it was like very specific on these are the things that the DM can mess with.
Right. Which, I might still rule 0 if it, makes for compelling content, but...
I noticed it seems to give you a lot more freedom on like out of combat narrative stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And hopefully we don't run into more than 3 combats, because that's the number of quotes I've actually made up for when he's quoting whatever the... What is the holy book of the Imperium called?
The Lexo Divinatus or something like that. Lexio Divinatus?
Sounds about right.
It's a good question.
Yep.
I mean, I'd go with it.
Ironically enough, written by Lorgar.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean that guy who became a Chaos Primarch?
Oh dear. All right.
I mean, that was quite some of the fun part of this podcast. I've talked about it before, Grimdorks, where it's just a couple of guys introduce their friend to the lore of the 40k universe, and he just sits there and goes, "This is stupid. I love it." Well, more, "This is stupid. I hate this," and by hate this, I mean this is awesome.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Love hate.
Beckett, are you back yet? Beckett. All right, we'll give Beckett a few more minutes.
We don't need the other side's captain. Let's come back and find the smoldering wreckage of a ship.
Well, he did roll a complication.
Yep.
Be one hell of a complication.
Just got a little bit too over-enthusiastic with the new ship.
Now I'm very curious to see how much power he decided to give ELH, because I may have given a little too much.
Oh, don't worry. It's going to be a very interesting narrative.
Indeed.
In fact, I should actually probably, while we wait for Beckett, I should probably look this up anyway.
Oh, that's a good point. Hey, has anyone considered the idea that Death Stranding might just be Kojima's codename for his world domination plot?
I mean,
based on what little we know of the game, it would not surprise me.
because literally he has execs pretty much just throwing money at him. He could be putting out small teaser trailers as a distraction while he's building the Kojima Death Laser or something.
Nah, he's building Metal Gear, clearly.
Well, yeah, okay. But at least, well, if the world's going to end, at least it will end in a cool way.
Yep. All right, and I think Beckett's back now.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. All right, so here's what's going to happen in a narrative fashion. Ophion, you guys go pretty much as fast as possibly can. As fast as you possibly can. And, well, it would help if I got rid of the big BRB. And eventually...
Why didn't we use the QSD?
Simply because...
Because we're not asses.
Yeah. Also,
Also, that thing is a little bit unreliable, and we might end up overshooting and ending up at the ring world by mistake.
Yeah, we have a plus minus 50 light years with aiming that yet.
Yeah, do you want to end up in Breen space? Because this is how you end up in Breen space.
Could always pay the
At
Tholians
the
another
moment, the
visit.
QSD is just an emergency punch-out button.
Pretty much. All right, so, Ophion, you guys arrive after 1.5 hours. That's how fast you're going. And when you arrive in the system, it's a pretty empty star system. It has a single blue giant star, and it has several bands of asteroid belts. Mechanically, if it matters, the asteroids provide 1 challenge die worth of cover. And if you roll an effect on that challenge die, the asteroid cover is no more. As you can also see, there's kind of an aura around the sun. And basically that represents if you are within that aura, you have to have your metaphasic shields on, or you start to cook the hull. But yeah, Ophion, you arrive after 1.5 hours, and you have, well, what you think is plenty of time to scan the system, get prepared for whatever. I should probably also say that this would have been made clear by Thesso that you're not actually supposed to fire at one another. It is all simulated damage and all simulated weapons fire, so you're not actually hurting the other ship.
Well, of
Laser
course,
tag phase.
Yeah, like they did when the Packlet came over to test Riker. I forget the name of the episode, but
oh yes,
it's very similar to that.
War games or something?
Yeah, that might be it. But yeah, crew of the Ophion, what is your course of action here?
How much time do we have, do we think, before the...
You have no idea. If
for all we know, they could be here now.
Exactly.
Full system scans, Mr. Locke. Let's... And
see what's out there.
Yellow alert. All hands to battle stations.
Okay. So yeah, Locke, go ahead and give me another sensor scan. Difficulty here is going to be a 2.
Focus. I'm just going to do a broad scan. So.
All right, and let's get the ship rolling too.
Right.
Sensors science.
Yep.
Apparently, I closed the Ophion sheet.
Rookie mistake.
You'd think as captain I would have figured this stuff out by now.
You'd think as captain you would have ordered someone to do it for you by now.
All right. So, Locke, you do a sweep of the system, and short of a few asteroids that might actually have metallurgic value, there is just nothing of interest in this system.
We'll have to presume that we are faster, so we might have a couple seconds before they're here. Captain, may I suggest sneaky trap?
I do like sneaky traps. Please tell me more.
We do have several probes that we could arm with kind of a metallurgic spray and fire into the asteroid belts as kind of photon torpedo mines, proxy. Detonate them by the remote control if anyone's close to them.
Perfect. Make it happen as quickly as possible. For all we know, their ship is out there watching our every move, or we beat them.
If we haven't, Captain, I believe Mr. Locke, correct me if I'm wrong, but a ship moving at warp tends to disturb subspace.
Significantly, yes, it does. So all warfields I generate a lot of distortion. Traveling at warp while cloaked is extremely difficult.
Is this something we could convert or allow or change the probes to scan for as well in case we did beat them here?
I can absolutely do that. Well, Shatsu fires our mines, as it were. I'll
Right,
reconfigure our
and-
chronoton sensors.
Out of curiosity, which asteroid belts are you going to mine, basically?
Captain's prerogative.
How many do we want? Or how much? So GM's discretion, or how long will it take to mine a single one?
Let's say it will take 30 minutes to mine a single one.
Okay.
Probably no more
Let's
than
see.
2 then.
And if they were then traveling at warp 9.75 or 9.975 without issue, then they might only be about 30 minutes behind us, meaning we only would get a chance to drop one. In which case, I would suggest dropping.
Well, you might want to be secret about it.
Would going to MVAM allow us to do more than one asteroid field?
Probably not, because the time is time spent preparing a probe.
Yeah, that's how I would say it as well.
So I am going to whisper to the GM which one I want mined.
Okay.
As soon as I can get into the grid, see what the grid numbers are. Zoom in a bit. That would be the one at. How did the number scheme work on this one? That number is right. Man, all this sneaky talking back and forth to the GM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't done a whole lot of it in this game, so I think it's interesting.
I usually end up doing it a lot when I play evil characters.
That should tell you something about our captain right now.
So since the chronoton sensors scan like half a second into the future,
Little
we'll be able
known
to get
fact,
a
every bonded Trill has at least one serial killer somewhere in their back catalogue.
Not if you ask the Trill Symbiosis Commission. They've never made a mistake, not once.
Yeah, that's what Big Symbiote wants you to think.
I like to think that there's an underground symbiote trade on Trill.
Oh, there must be
Yeah,
somewhere.
there's gotta be something.
I mean, probably not very big, because I'd imagine it's a case of all the symbiotes that are on Trill are very carefully kept track of. But maybe maybe like a small population got squirreled away at some point in the past, and it's just there's a black market of trading them around.
Wasn't there an
Oh my God.
episode of that Dax, the dude who was supposed to get the Dax symbiote but didn't, showed up to like rip the
Yeah, like
symbiote out?
he showed up with some guys to sort of kidnap Dex and forcibly transfer it,
Mm-hmm.
which went about as well as you'd expect.
Would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for that Ferengi.
Yep.
That meddling captain in his furry.
All right.
Never underestimated Ferengi.
Anyway, so the ground hand sensors would it be able
Yes.
to detect
House of Quark, easily one of the
coming out
best
warp
episodes of the
seconds
series.
early.
Say again there, Locke.
We'd be able to detect the ship coming out of warp a couple seconds early, like a little bit of preparation.
Yes, you will. So here's what's going to happen. You mine the asteroid belt in question, or the asteroids in question. So that takes 30 minutes. There's another 30 minutes, nothing happens. Another 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours.
Are they at the right spot?
And then sometime about hour 3.5. Unfortunately, there's no real way for me to show one token to someone and not to others, so just don't metagame it. Ophion, you will detect that the Lysithea, a incoming warp signature, is in system somewhere over in yonder direction. And Lysithea, you come out of warp right about here, still cloaked.
Detecting a warp signature. They've definitely arrived.
All right.
To descend mocking hail.
Send a general broadcast welcoming them to the system and ask if they are in need of any engineering or medical assistance.
I take it we got here okay, or did
Yeah.
one of the complications show up while we were on our way?
The complication was that, small retcon. So yes, there was a small complication, and that was that the warp engine, its interaction with the cloak was causing a buildup of, I forget what they're called, but a buildup of certain particles in the warp core that might have reached dangerous levels. So you had to slow your speed down and basically jury rig a few solutions. But for now, it's working fine. There's no more particle buildup that you have to worry about, and you should be okay.
Okay. Uh, I will send a message back and respond in kind with, nope, just didn't want to push the engines that hard on our first trip. How's your power situation looking like over there?
We have a fantastic engineer who will have us up to ship shape in no time.
And I will
Well-
respond. I will respond back with, oh, so Zenixia has taken over, huh?
Somewhere in engineering, Mirthrin's ears are burning.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think Mirthrin will be too upset about that because he is kind of a little bit proud of Zenixia.
And then the next message will be, don't worry, I've ordered my crew to not allow any unknown shuttles into our ship.
I'm just going to.
Okay, that does get his ears burning.
While this exchange is going on, I'd like to use the communications console to kind of see if I can pinpoint or track or backtrace.
You certainly can try, but I would think that Beckett would have been smart enough to bounce the signal around.
Let's not get too much credit, okay?
Let's make this a difficulty 4, and this would be a. I would see either an insight or a reason plus science. I'm leaning towards insight because you're trying to analyze data, but reason could also fit here. And remember the
Starfleet
Ophion.
protocols as a focus?
Oh, say again?
Starfleet protocols as a focus?
Yes, it would. And remember, the Ophion has 4 momentum it can spend.
I'll spend 1.
Okay.
So I roll 5d20.
No, just 3. Okay.
And the Ophion would
So,
assist.
yes, let's have the ship assist with sensor science.
Communication
Oh,
science?
yeah, wait a second. There's communications, isn't it? So, yeah, let's do communications and science.
Which is lower for anyone listening and trying to bet a game.
Hey, still a success.
Look at that.
Okay. I'll say you don't really get a pinpointed area where they are, but using my new lovely effects here, they are somewhere
Ooh, something blew up.
Ooh.
this direct. They're somewhere
Ooh.
here.
Ooh,
They're somewhere
nice
in this
pick.
band.
Commander, are they launching fireworks?
I wonder, is that
Yes.
showing up on the
Yes,
stream?
we are.
No, it's not showing up
Yeah.
on the stream. Hold on.
That'd be a highly improbable action.
Oh. Sorry,
Considering
sorry, stream. Unfortunately, it seems the way I'm capturing the thing, it's not going to show you the explosions. I'll switch back to normal.
It was very pretty though.
Yeah. So here, like G17 to K13 to O11 is about somewhere in that band.
Lieutenant
2 to 3 o'clock.
Sona, considering their warp entry and the current area we believe them to be in, extrapolate possible paths.
Certainly, sir. And it is at this point we are going to go into initiative order.
Are we gonna roll initiative to see who goes first?
You know what? That's probably a good idea. Let's do it this way. The tactical officers of each ship, so Shatsu and Svarja, who has the highest combined, let's do fitness and security.
Svarja is 15.
Yeah, as far as just 15.
And Shatsu is fitness security,
Yep.
also 15.
Okay, then. In any case, let's have the captains roll a 1d20 then.
Come on, Beckett.
Oh!
All right.
No.
Hey, for this system,
it's
she was
taking
good.
pictures. It's lower, right?
That is fair.
Yeah, that is fair. You know what?
You
have
know
a fair
what? I'm
point.
okay to go with that too.
It is a lower is better system. So yes, Lysithea, you guys get to go first. And we're not like in full combat here because I don't want to take it forever, but just don't like spam 6 rounds of attack on me.
Aw. No, that
Uh,
was my idea.
I PM'd you what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I got you. Now, how far did you want to move?
How far can I move?
You can move up to, we'll say 6 units, no problem.
Okay.
Now, can they fire cloaked?
No.
No.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. We have 3 momentum, so I don't need to rally right now.
I PM'd you what hex we're gonna be in.
Okay. I have to find that myself. There it is. Okay. So you go there.
Okay. Let's see.
Well,
Yeah, I was going to say, for the ship locations, we're just going to have to trust each other not to metagame it. Because, again,
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, Roll20 does not have an ability to show some things to some players and some to others.
yeah, it doesn't have a very good double blind rule set, so yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the of those photon those buoys that we placed, or the buoy that we placed?
Mm-hmm.
What's its radius?
1 hex surrounding it.
Okay. I'll keep an eye on that. Okay, then I'm going to. I'd like to believe. Operating under the assumption that they're more or less in the area around the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to order us in, and we can move. What was it? 4 hexes before spending power.
Again, we're not really following
Yeah.
Starship rules too much, so I'm saying up to 6 units without spending power.
All right. 1, 2, 3. I think moving here would be a wise course of action.
Okay. So yeah, Ophion moves up there.
Captain,
Yes.
while the Lysithea certainly has some new equipment, one thing she cannot do is be in 3 places at once.
Chris, you have read my mind, Mr. Panek. I was just getting into a place where we can make the best advantage of splitting the ship immediately. The problem, of course, is we can't see her, so I'm sort of waiting for the Lysithea to make the first move, and then we would have a general idea where she would be for us to make full use of the MVAM system.
All right. Well, we come back around to the Lysithea. What do you have in the Lysithea do there, Beckett?
I'm sending Beckett a message right now on Discord about a plan.
Weren't you saying something about evil people whispering behind each other's backs?
No.
Hey, I am evil in the open, okay?
I said people whispering No, actually, I didn't even say it. Panek said he does that when he's an evil character. And you were whispering the DM. So I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just saying. I'm not pointing fingers.
Sorry, I'm unintentionally gaslighting. I apologize.
He's not saying you're evil. He's just implying it very strong.
Well, I did use one of my milestones to replace
Knife?
one of my...
What knife? Are you implying there's a knife in my hand?
Matic has a knife.
Oh God.
Uses it as a bottle opener.
I like what you're thinking, but I don't even think Beckett would do that. I don't remember. Is it a full action to split to MVMA?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, now I'm gonna be evil. And I will whisper you what we are doing.
Okay.
And whisper sent.
All right, let's see what we're doing.
Oh no.
Oh, that's good. All right, Ophion, we come back around to you guys.
Okay. Suggestions.
I think we just need to wait for them to make a first move. They came out of warp late, which is they might be having engine trouble. I might be able to track some of their ion signature. Might have left a trail.
Alternatively, preemptively break into multi-vector assault mode and just have an extremely wide pattern, like low power, like scatter the phaser all over the place so that it's really tricky for them to actually dodge.
Do we still, Mr. Locke, do we still have the tachyon net system set up with the Ophion from when we were blockading the Romulans?
We'll have to load that probe torpedo, but yeah, that's still an option. We haven't used that one.
Good to know. Very well. MVAM.
All right.
Then we'll...
Shall I move to the secondary bridge, Captain?
Yes, please. And Commander Beckett... Oh. Lieutenant... Not... what was her name? Sue...
Sutai.
Yes, Lieutenant Commander Sutai, please report to Gamma Section.
Hi, sir. All right. So,
I got sad there for a moment.
yeah. So let's see. I think that's all the sections. Yeah, that should be all the sections. All right, so Lysithea, you see that the Ophion has split into 3. What is your course of action? Or is it more of
Give
more
up.
of the same? Oh, you know what, Matic, that's a good point. So before splitting, the Ophion had, I believe, 6 power, and that would be split among all sections, just so you are aware. So
Ooh,
each
yeah.
section would only have 2 power at the moment.
Okay. Fun.
So apparently, my mute button is the root of all my downfalls.
Mhm.
As soon as I see them split, and having Matic kind of talk to me about the way that the Ophion works with the split and their powering,
Mhm.
we're attacking.
Okay.
So we will come out of cloak, shields up, and start throwing everything that we have at beta.
Okay. Photons or phasers?
Well, we're not at long range, so we could use photons. That's true. Yeah, we'll throw photons.
Okay, so just so you know, photons are long range at optimum, so it would be a plus difficulty to shoot them at medium.
Oh, well then never mind. We'll just hit them with phasers.
Okay. Again, that's why I asked.
I
Just want to
couldn't
be sure.
I couldn't remember if the range system in here was, they have up to long, or if long is actually where they're supposed to be. So
Yeah, it's the latter, and I have gotten that wrong in the past, and it took me playing the game with a few other people to get that right. Um, so yeah, the range listed on the weapon is its optimum range, and anything that's not that, even if it's closer, is still a +1.
okay, then yeah, we'll throw phasers at beta section.
Okay. Well, since you do have Svarja statted, let's have her roll a control security, difficulty 2, and the Lysithea will assist with weapons and security.
All right. I've got Svarja. You said control security.
Correct.
Eh.
Weapons security for the ship, right?
Yep.
And she is a ground pounder. She is not a ship combat person.
Hey, still 2 successes. That's all you need.
Oh,
Oh, god damn it.
Huh.
They forgot to turn them on to non-lethal.
It's
Oh.
forgot to put them on lower settings so we actually do damage.
Yeah, I think that's how I'm gonna rule it because I
I
find
would like that
funny.
because, of course, you'd immediately realize and go, "Oh,
How is that a complication for them?
Because then we have paperwork.
oh yes, so much paperwork."
So, if you would be so kind, either Beckett or Matic, roll me the
Yeah.
Because
challenge
I'd
die
imagine
on this.
remember to put the safety on when you're not using it as kind of rule 1.
But it is a non-Starfleet tactical officer, so maybe they don't have a safety button.
All
Who
right.
knows?
So challenge dice. Oh, good lord.
Should be equal to your scale plus your security.
Oh man, that would actually be a
Yeah.
pretty good one. Like,
7.
I see it.
Svarja fires and Captain goes, "Wait, what are you doing? That's lethal damage." Well, yeah, we're doing a war game. Wait, you mean you don't
Yeah.
put the weapons on lethal damage in your war games? No, of course we don't.
Legit. Like I think of it. If any of you guys know anything about the BattleTech universe, how the clanners fight with full-powered weapons, even when they're just training. So that's kind of what I was thinking too. Like, she comes from a military society. Like, that's what she would do, and she rolled pretty well on her challenge dice.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask, since they are phasers, you do have 2 floating momentum to spend on whatever you'd wish.
Power loss. I think
what's
that's what
that?
we're doing, Beckett. We're going to do
Yeah, power loss.
Okay, so narratively, what happens is Lysithea decloaks and comes in a swooping attack pattern and fires real phasers at the beta section. And those on beta feel the ship rock, and then all the power in beta section cuts out. There is
Yeah,
no
and so
more power.
and as the emergency lights come on, Merlin goes, "Hang on, did they hit us with real phasers?" And he'll like calm up to the helm, "Captain, they just hit us with real phasers."
Scalda Beckett, what the hell?
I realized what just happened. So, Beckett, it immediately turns to Svarja, who, as we've just explained, has like a look of like, "What? I hit him." On her
Pretty
face.
much, yeah.
Captain Skull, apparently we have a problem with our current tactical officer feeling that live fire exercises is what her people do, but not what we do. I'm going to say that we will forfeit this war games because of the mistake of my new tactical officer, and her and I will have to have a talk.
Huh.
But do radio to Panek and let him know that I always heard Vulcans liked working in the dark.
One split second. Mr. Locke,
Yes, sir.
that package that we prepared in transporter room 1, please let's test our the Chanel transporter. Beam it right into their bridge.
Aye, sir. Beaming.
All right. So, unfortunately, the Lysithea has more shields than the Chanel transporter is able to punch through.
Damn it,
And
my
more
mute
than
was
10.
on. When Captain says that to Locke, I'll go, Captain, don't, I wouldn't worry about that if I were you. My shields can't be penetrated by the Chanel's transporters. So hopefully that wasn't important, as it's now off my port bow.
No, it was just a small it was just a small like a cartoony bomb with a fuse.
Oh, okay.
It just went and then it popped in confetti.
I
Gotcha.
imagine that happens in space, though. Just this little
Yeah.
tiny explosion of
So
confetti.
a confused ensign near the window looks on in confusion
I
as just
forgot
a
about the
small
10.
device pops with confetti in space.
I had forgotten that it was 10 or below. Drat.
Yeah.
Oh well. That's
The,
why I'm...
Hey, but I will say this much. The only reason I have above a 10 is because I had to take advanced shields.
Mhm.
But that's going to be our exterior shot at the end of the episode. Is the bomb is just floating and all of a sudden, and all the confetti comes out.
Oh. So actually, this is a good point. Well, I feel this is a satisfactory end to the war game. I'm looking at what I have prepared for the rest of the session, and I honestly don't think we can complete it in time. And I know for a fact that Beckett is going to be out for the next 2 weeks. And this content I'd have to rejigger to fit.
Well, since we are finishing early, there is one thing I keep forgetting to do,
Uh-huh.
is have Mertrin go back and work on reverse engineering the Svarja's species weapon.
Ah, yes. Well, what I was going to say
I'm trying to make a
is-
pistol-sized version of it.
What I would say is, does anyone have a problem with going farther than 515?
How far away is that from now? Because it's
It is
8:30 in the morning.
literally 45 minutes from now.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That
I should
works for me.
Yeah, I don't have a hard stop today, so I'm good.
Okay.
If we're done by 5:15, yeah, my hard stop's not for a while. But is it something that you need Beckett and Maddock for?
It's one of those things where I'd prefer if Beckett was here for, because it's kind of a tie-in to you leaving and going into the Andromeda Galaxy, but I can do it differently if people gotta leave, kind of a thing.
I'm good. I got time, so.
Okay. Let's do this then. Instead of ending early, let's try to push through this. And if people do have to start dropping off, that's okay. We'll deal with it as it comes up. So all of you, as you try to deal with the aftermath of the accidental actual phaser fire, both the Lysithea and the Ophion sections are going to detect something. And this is going to come from Hylong for the Lysithea and Locke for the Ophion. And both of them are seeing that there is an incoming warp signature. It does not match any on record, and it is coming from above, quote-unquote, the current spatial plane. So remember that all space is 3D, so literally straight up from where you guys are now is where the thing's coming from.
Let's get our ship back together in one piece and get our power systems back operational.
That
Okay.
could take a while, Captain.
Well, you have less than a while. Get on it.
If the Gamma section is currently trying to restore power.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we'll say, for sake of argument, as you scramble to get MVAM back together, what is the Lysithea doing?
We're gonna do what we're gonna do in the Andromeda Galaxy, which is ninja vanish.
Okay. In that
Right.
case, as this all happens, there is sort of a directed hail to both the Lysithea and the Ophion.
Captain, incoming hail.
On screen.
All right. Is the Lysithea going to respond to it as well? Because it is very directed to you.
Yes, I am going to respond to that, but my mute button really doesn't want me to. Yeah, I will. Hi, Long. Put it on the screen.
All right. So for sake of ease, to keep everybody in the same RP, it is split into a three-way call. And on screen, what you see from the alien vessel is a very strange insectoid creature, because I know Beckett loves those. It sports
Son
10
of a
legs, about 6 or 7 sets of arms of varying sizes, and these sort of great whip-like tendrils. Its face, or what you would imagine fares for one, has sort of tentacle-like mandibles and at least 8 eyes that you can see. And it's hard to get a feel for how big this thing might be, but your guess is that it's even bigger than the Scorpy. And I actually have a handout.
Of course you do.
That is about what you're looking at right now.
Beckett says in the middle of the call, "God damn it."
And
Well, he looks friendly.
Yeah. Surprisingly, the alien comes over the Universal Translator in perfect Earth Common, albeit it is an androgynous voice. And the alien says, "I am Captain Nonsho of the Oshirix Ascendancy. To whom do I have the pleasure of addressing?"
Sorry, could you repeat the name?
Nonsho. Nonsho.
Non-show. Okay. Captain Non-show. I am Captain Barton Skull of the USS Ophion, representing the Federation of the United Federation of Planets. I bid you greeting. We are simply performing a
Training exercise, Captain.
Yes, a training exercise with one of our sister ships.
And I am Captain. And he'll smirk the first time he says that I am Captain. Michael Beckett of the USS Lysithea.
I see. Well, and it is about that time that their vessel drops out of warp, and I have a handout for that too. And that is what their ship looks like. So, kind of pointing out some features here. Instead
Looks like
of
a
the,
Space Hulk.
Yeah, instead of the sort of stereotypical underslung deflector array, there is sort of that cylinder at the front acting as deflector. And then you see those sort of 4 railgun type things that are sprouting out of the hull. Those are, in fact, railguns and phasers combined. So they not only can fire physical ammo, but they can also fire
Phaser
phasers.
railguns.
Yeah, phaser railguns.
Oh, no, wait.
But yeah, that's
somewhere on the Ophion, Murthrin is drooling when he hears the words railgun phasers.
But yeah, that's what drops out of warp, and it does not have its weapons powered at all, and it does not get any closer to you guys. And Nonsho continues to say, "I am here to make first contact with the United Federation of Planets on behalf of the Ascendancy. We have been keeping an eye on Starfleet's operation in the Sabine Expanse, and we have decided that now is the best time to introduce ourselves."
Well, this is a change of pace.
Sorry, 1 second.
I mute them. Captain, should I request Mr. Jessa?
Yes.
I mean, Miss what's her
Zareed.
name?
Yes,
Mr.
please summon
Reed.
Zareed to the bridge. Sorry, I was drinking something that went down the wrong throat.
Bridge to Mrs. Reed. Please report with due haste.
Aye, sir.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. It's a
Do you have any notes on how to handle first contact protocols when we're on the other side of the first contact protocol?
it is rare, but yes. Captain Nonsho, it is a pleasure to meet you and your species. We are most interested in proceeding with first contact protocol. Would you prefer us to meet you on your vessel, or shall we prepare our ship for your arrival?
Well, I do believe in scanning your vessel that the Ophion is unable to accommodate a being of my size. However, the Lysithea would suffice, or we can do it on the OAG Hange, my ship.
Captain Beckett, I will leave this in your call.
Well, our esteemed colleague here is not incorrect. Lysithea is specifically set up for this sort of situation. Please, if you will both be my guests, we can have our discussion here.
Very good. We will beam over shortly. And as the call cuts off, obviously Beckett and Skull are going to be present, but would you guys be bringing anyone else with you?
As the captain gets up out of his chair and I go to take it, I'll let him know I'm staying behind, and then I'll inform DSD of our new situation.
And Zareed will go over, being diplomatic corps, of course.
Okay.
But for the most part, I will communicate to Beckett that this is his ship, and are there any additional resources that the Ophion can provide?
I would, not knowing what went on before he messaged me, I would very much like Miss Zareed to come with you to help you and I not bumble our way through this. Why don't you bring at least one security personnel for you?
Very well.
If I may interject, Captain,
Yes.
Captain Beckett, a piece of advice I would suggest you utilize Miss Svarge's intelligence with this region of space.
Oh, she will be there.
Very good.
Ensign Quakenbush? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you
No,
were...
no, go ahead.
Ensign Quakenbush, please meet us at Transporter Room 1.
Very well, sir.
Murthrin, please get this ship up and running just in case things go south. I do not want to be ambushed with our minimal power situation.
Already on it, Captain.
And then Beckett will get up. Svarja with me. Beckett to Matic.
Matic here.
If Murthrin needs any help, supplies, whatnot, try to help him as much as we can in case this goes sour and we need both ships.
Confirm.
And then Beckett will walk to one of our beautiful diplomatic suites.
All right.
I'm sure you have lots of.
Before you
we do.
go,
I had to spend the talent on it.
Yeah. Before you go, actually, Commander Cam is going to speak up and say, "Sir, would you care for my guidance as well?"
Actually, that would be a brilliant idea. Trying to think who we have to take. We'll call one of the other shift's commanding officers to come and take the bridge.
Okay.
I have names, but I would have to go digging for the list.
Right. All right. No worries. All right. So we once again sort of have a theater of the mind because, as try as I might, I could not find a nice diplomatic suite example. But suffice to say, it is a very large room, and Non-Show has transmitted basically requirements to, I would say, the Lysithea's con officer, who then sort of configured the suite appropriately. So the first thing you guys are going to notice when you step in is not only Captain Non-Show, But the fact that the lighting is very dim, if I had to describe it, it is the equivalent of a single candlelit lantern within a cave network. So it is very dim. The light is sort of flickering. It's very ambiance maybe, but it's still way lower than what you're used to. In addition, there is a myriad of scents in the air that range from the smell of a rose to that of ozone, like after fresh rain. And though you're not having any problems breathing the atmosphere, I think at least Beckett would get the sense that non-show species, the Oshirix, are more than likely coming from a environment which has more nitrogen in its atmosphere than, say, normal Earth. But yeah, Nansho is waiting for the six of you, and as you come in, it turns and sort of says to both captains, says, "Thank you all for coming and for having me on your vessel."
I thank you for making our first contact aboard the Lysithea a peaceful one. Welcome aboard. And I'll introduce myself again. I'm Captain Beckett. This is my first officer, Commander Cam. This is Ensign Svarja, a member of my security detail. And then he'll kind of like motion with his hand to Captain Skull to kind of do the same thing.
Of course. I am Captain Barton Skull. Might I introduce my security division is Ensign Quakenbush and Miss Zareed, a member of the United Federation Diplomatic Corps.
I see. These are rather interesting individuals you both surround yourselves with. But I'm sure you have many questions for me. After all, I'm fairly confident that this is a rare event for you all.
Yes, it is usually us who makes. It is usually our exploratory nature that leads us to make first contact instead of the other way around.
And at least for me, I'm normally not present for these sort of things, but it's something that I'm going to have to get used to. And I'll just give as pleasant of a smile and body language as I can.
Okay.
Now, sorry, I missed the physical description. How tall is he? Or how big?
If I had to put a definite size on them, they are about 4 meters tall.
Oh
and
my.
they
Okay.
are probably, I would say, 12 meters long. So they are big.
You could not only ride him into battle, you could put a howdah on his back.
Now I kind of want to ride one as a horse, but that would be un-Starfleet like unless they are the ones to make the suggestion first. Yes, I'm curious. You say that you've noticed, or that you've been keeping, that you've been watching our exploits into the Sabine Expanse, or the sector of space we call the Sabine Expanse. How long have you been watching us?
Well, we are aware of your contact with the Slaw on their ring world, the introduction of the Zavoisie and their conglomerate. We know of your interaction with the Scorpy. We found it interesting how you interacted with the Oracle. We're also aware of your confrontation with the Vohiri. And we also know that you too know the location of the subspace portal.
I try to maintain a poker face.
And Beckett, having, as usual, not having a very good poker face when it comes to these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do know of it, and as a matter of fact, that's actually where the Lysithea is heading. Are you from the other side of it, or are you on this side of it?
We are from a planet approximately 12 light years from here in a upper direction, again, 3D up. From here, the Connecticut passed by our planet but was moving so fast that we could not make contact, and I am pretty sure they did not notice us. We are a very underground society. our planet by itself is a poison-strewn world that, unless you are either underground or on a mountain peak, it is very difficult to survive.
Then what drew your species into space?
Well, honestly, all it took was one of our great scholars to travel to a mountain peak. And when he saw the stars and saw what they had to offer, it triggered a sort of renaissance with our people. To this day, we still uphold the starports and facilities on mountain peaks. We hold them in regard that I believe is equivalent to your monastery or temple.
Interesting. And I take it I had come to the same conclusion myself as seeing, and Beckett will kind of motion to the rest of the room, of the accommodations that you required. So your people, other than in space, normally live subterranean?
That is correct.
And space would be the next logical place for you to go, because without artificial light, it is just as much subterranean as, well, being underground.
Indeed.
So you've come to us for, excuse my presumption, but for what reason? Just to make contact with Starfleet? Or us kind of motioning to Skull and myself in particular?
It is a two-pronged introduction. The first is that we are very much interested in beginning the procedure to become a Federation member. However, while that is going on, we are also interested, or at least my vessel and myself, we are interested in following you through the portal.
Interesting.
Catching on the quick confusion, to let Beckett get a split second of time to think of a response, Zareed will quickly step forward and produce the primer to Starfleet and the Federation of Planets that she seems to carry on her in all potential languages. Pardon me, captains. If the Oshrik's Ascendancy wishes to join the Federation of Planets, might I present you this document with detailing the overall guidelines of Federation law and society, as well as many benefits to becoming a full member world. You don't have to, of course. You could simply reside as an independent an independent council on simply friendly terms, and she's more than happy to BS for a good few minutes while Skull and Beckett compose their answers.
Yeah, and
that's probably the most unrealistic part of Star Trek is everyone is collected and loquacious at all times.
Yep. And Noncho's going to let Zareed speak, but eventually they will just sort of hold up a hand and say, Miss Zareed, was it? Do not worry. We have a full copy of most of your Federation literature. We're a very observant species, and we even have records of some of your holodeck programs that were transmitted over open air.
Oh, I see. I spoke out of turn without understanding everything. I sincerely apologize. And she does a sort of monastic bow really quickly and steps back.
No, not to worry. I do not take offense.
Raising an eyebrow, Beckett will kind of smirk at Skull and then look back at the visiting captain. And so I take it you probably know who Sherlock Holmes is. He seems to be a favorite among people who use holodecks. But I would never turn down an ally to come with on a mission such as what I'm undertaking. Myself and my crew have taken this mission knowing that we probably will not have any sort of support unless we make it ourselves. So to have an ally, and he'll kind of stress the word ally, in this venture would be a great boon to us.
That is our thinking as well. While we could have gone through the portal at any time within the past century, we have lacked the external aid or the external ally that would make such operation less dangerous. Plus, it is my understanding that your Starfleet is going to be deploying several buoys that will enable communication between the Andromeda Galaxy and here. And at this, Cam will kind of lean into Beckett and say, I don't know how they know that, considering I'm the intelligence officer and I barely know that fact myself.
Beckett will kind of tilt his head to Cam, and seeing as how I just found out about it about 6 hours ago, and then he'll turn back to look at the other captain. Of course, I will tell my superiors that you will be coming through, as I'm sure you also know that they are currently guarding the opening to the subspace doorway or portal. I will need to do this so that way they do not think that you are, well, being hostile. As I'm sure you've probably gone past there, and nobody has either batted an eye or have taken massive notes about it that no one has bothered to share with us. And Beckett will say that with a smile. But again, I would very much like to have any assistance that you are willing to give once we get on that side of, well, Station Pandora.
So Nansho, his tendrils kind of move in a wing-like fashion, sort of making them look a little bit bigger, but it's not meant to be an aggressive action. Almost as if it's some sort of body language that obviously is not translating, because brand new alien species with tendrils, what the hell are those? But Nansho says in reply, I believe this shall be a two-pronged first contact and allyship. While my ship shall go with you, Captain Beckett, I will provide Captain Skull and his crew with coordinates to our homeworld, which he may visit and perhaps make our alliance a little bit more official.
That I'm my captain here has, or former captain here has strung up quite a long list of first contacts and a list of people wanting to join the Federation that he has brought to the Federation. So I'm sure he will be delighted at that fact.
Absolutely.
And he'll Beckett will kind of throw kind of a cheeky wink to Skull after saying all that.
Absolutely. I look forward to meeting you, meeting more of your people and seeing the world that you call home.
Indeed. In that case, I also have a gift. And not even without saying anything, so some sort of sub-vocal communication. It holds out its hand, and in its hand materializes a what looks to be a sphere of liquid. And Nansho holds it out to Beckett and says, from what I have been able to determine about you specifically, Captain, I understand you are a fan of concoctions and liquor. This is a customary liquor from my homeworld.
Drink it.
I had to mute myself. I was laughing so hard. Beckett will take it. I am. It seems that you have me at a major disadvantage of knowing quite a lot of things about me, and I knowing hardly anything about you. And Beckett Beckett will start to bring the container or whatever it is up to his lips, and then looks at Skull and says, "This is going to be payback, isn't it?" And then
Bottoms up, my friend.
Beckett will take a drink, and I will get my character sheet.
Actually, the taste is very similar to. I don't know, how much of a wine snob are you, if any?
Me personally, none at all. Beckett, probably not.
Okay. Have you ever had a Riesling before?
Nope.
Okay, so it is a very, and of course some actual wine expert is going to yell at me, but it is a very fruity yet dry sort of wine tasting substance. There's
Tasting
a
substance.
hint of liquor, which I would compare to maybe say, what is it called? Not Captain Morgan's, but basically it's an apricot flavored liquor that is giving it a sort of an edge. But of note, as you sort of swish it around your mouth, there's the sensation of it evaporating in your mouth to form a gas. And it recondenses and evaporates a few more times before it stabilizes. So it's a very interesting experience for you.
All right. Beckett will kind of tilt his head in a, I didn't really expect this to evaporate and re-liquefy, then evaporate and then re-liquefy. But he will take a drink and smile and look at the other cat, look at Nancho, and from where I'm from, we would almost call that apricot. Would be the taste that I'm getting. It's quite good. Very unexpected, but quite good.
And on my first contact, I ate worms.
Point Beckett.
I don't say that aloud. It just
Poor Skull. But Nancho says, I am glad that you enjoy it. Again, I must apologize for what may seem a advantage, as you put it. My species is very astute and highly advanced when it comes to observation methods. We are able to get almost real-time readings from pretty much everywhere within the area that you call the Sabine Expanse.
Interesting.
Oh my god, it's a species of Twitch stream viewers.
And Beckett will kind of mumble, and a little bit terrifying. And then Beckett will turn to Skull. Well, now you know you're being watched all the time.
it's nice to know my paranoia is justified. I'm Miss Captain Nonshow, I would be honored to receive the coordinates of your homeworld so that we may meet with your governor, with your populace.
All right, so very similar to the globe, they hold out a different hand, and a strange octagonal sort of pad materializes in it, and they hand it to you. And again, the universal translator is actually working, and it is in perfect Earth Common.
Naturally. Okay. I shall take a quick gander at it and pass it to Zareed. Make sure that Sona gets this when you return to the ship, please. Yes, sir.
Well, captains, I hate to bring this meeting to a close, but we do have some preparations of our own to take place before we depart for the portal. Captain Beckett, whenever you are ready, please let us know, and we shall follow you to the portal.
Of course, Captain Nonshow. I will do so as soon as we're fit to head out.
Excellent. So Nonshow again kind of puffs out their tendrils, does a small inclination of their upper body, and then they dematerialize back to what you assume is their own ship, leaving just the six of you to talk.
I will immediately hand Skull the glass with the drink in it,
Hmm.
and kind of smirk. And well, I guess my first contact went a lot better than yours.
Well, I will not begrudge another captain a success. I'll raise it and drink what little is left.
So while that's going on, Svarja will actually kind of cough and say, I didn't want to do this during the meeting, sirs, but I did want to say that based on what Captain Nonsho said, that does line up what I know of the Oshiriks.
Oh God, here we go.
When we left them, when my people left them, they were farther along than the rest of the species that was in the Sabine Expanse. However, what they say is pretty much true. They are a rather peaceful species that simply takes the role of observer more often than not.
Captain, it seems that they may view space travel as a religious experience just as much as an exploration one. He, I'm assuming it's a he, I'm not really sure how they do genders yet, but he mentioned that their spacefaring structures were treated as monasteries, so it would only seem that their ships would be treated as either vessels of pilgrimage, perhaps, or perhaps simply as tools of subterfuge and observation.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. Well, at least we know this much. They're going to want to know as much as they can about the unknown as we do. I don't, especially from what Svarja just said, I don't, I wouldn't expect any trouble coming from them. So, and it would be good that if what they say is true about knowing anything and everything that's going on in the Sabine Expanse, that if they do join the Federation, nobody's going to be able to do anything out here without them knowing about it.
Agreed. I'm very interested to see what is out there that we don't know yet. I also want their surveillance technology, because that would be really cool. I'll have to get Locke on something.
Yeah, and it'll be good for Starfleet also to have that good of set of eyes on Pandora's Gate over here.
Agreed. I'm just going to shift on one foot, from one foot to the other, sort of awkwardly for a couple seconds. And, well, Captain, I believe this is where we part ways for a while.
I believe it is. I did want to say that I've been trying to find a time to say it anyways, but we both know how I feel about this gate and what I'm willing to do to it.
You're captain now. You have the ability to do what you need to do.
And I want you to know that if for any reason you need to carry out your promise, that
Of course.
no ill will, no second thought, no backbiting of any sort will come from me. We both know what needs to be done if this is being used in a negative way.
Yes. There was a saying in in the couple command courses I took in the academy that the fourth pip is far heavier than the other three combined. I'm sure you will come to realize that soon. You are a responsible man, and I do not begrudge you for whatever choices you have to make.
And the same to you, Captain.
I'll extend a hand.
And Beckett will happily shake it.
Fair winds guide you wherever you may fly.
An older saying, but Vio con Dios.
Not sure what that is off the top of my head. I'm going to assume the universal translator
Go
doesn't
with
catch
God.
it.
It means go with God.
Okay.
I'm
in
just
which
letting
case,
I'm letting all sorts of little tidbits out about Beckett this episode.
Zareed probably recognizes it and will respond in a similar quote.
Oh, and if nothing else, I'm almost positive Quakenbush does. So
Yeah. It goes over Skull's head, but the other two respond well enough.
and then Beckett will just kind of I don't know, a loss for words. We'll just kind of nod and kind of motion towards the door.
Yep, we've said enough goodbyes, so we'll move along. Try not to get lost in the spacious corridors of the ship. I want to call it the Lavernicus, but I know that's wrong. The Lysithea.
Yeah.
I'm going to butcher its name 5 ways to Sunday each time. I think I'm not good at names. Anyways, moving.
Yeah. So normally this is where the episode would end, but I do want to have a small teaser for next time. So kind of as the bridge crew of the Ophion sees the Lysithea power up its engines and begin to move away, the Oshirix vessel follows suit and follows the Lysithea. Both of them jump to warp. And after they have disappeared into warp, Locke, you get a text-only directed message to your console, and it is a message from your favorite lieutenant commander, Shatsu, and it simply says, "Meet me in holodeck 3 in 1 hour." And that's where we're ending the session. So yeah, hopefully you guys had a good time. We kind of set up primers for next week. You guys are going to go check out the Oshirix.
Out of character, I'm actually getting a little nervy here because, like, within the space of a few months, the Federation has got superior cloaking technology, beam through shields technology, and now potentially the most advanced sensor technology in the quadrant, all within the space of like a month.
And it's all because of us.
Yeah, like,
don't worry.
But the people back at home are not going to like that. The Romulans.
Yeah, I can see this severely destabilizing the political situation in the Alpha Quadrant. The Federation just suddenly becomes the technological juggernaut in the sector.
All I have to say to that is Maddock and I won't be here.
Oh, that's very true. And no, not to worry. It's not like I'm just throwing you guys free tech for nothing. There are political ramifications of all of this. They just have not come to light yet. But with that said,
I can see the Romulans especially getting very nervous.
Well, stop conquering people and make friends with them. It's your own fault, damn it.
Yeah, maybe if the Romulans want to join the Federation.
yeah, it's.
I mean,
honestly not
I'd
a bad
imagine
idea.
the Romulans wouldn't mind being in charge of the Federation.
Well, it's also one of those things where there's this huge technological gap between where the show ends and where you guys are basically at, and when Star
True.
Trek Online happens. So this is my attempt to sort of set the seeds for some of the technological advances, but we'll see how it turns out.
Well, I mean, and it's always the best setting is to go into a setting that there's really not much in.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do what you want and kind of lead things from point A to point B and have fun somewhere in the middle.
Do what Next Generation did and just introduce an entire... Oh, yes, there's an entire Cardassian empire off to the side here that the Federation had a war with.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Cardassians that they've introduced, but that's a talk for another time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think this is where I'm going to end the stream and the recording. So players, stick around, obviously. But for those of you watching on Twitch and on YouTube, of course, thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.